The banners are waving, the flares are lit, and Anfield is rocking once again. Liverpool Premier League champions for the 24-25 Premier League season. But this wasn't just any title win, no. This was the first of the post-Klopp era, a season led by a new name, a new system, and a new chapter. Welcome to Champions Edition, where today we break down how Arne Slot in just one season returned the Reds to the top of English football. When Jürgen Klopp announced in January 2024 that he would be stepping down at the end of that season, it sent shockwaves through Merseyside and beyond. Klopp had rebuilt Liverpool from a top four hopeful into a European juggernaut. He delivered the Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup and Club World Cup. He turned doubters into believers, and his bond with the city made him more than just a coach. He was a symbol of the club's identity. So when Dutchman Arne Slot was confirmed as the next head coach, skepticism was natural. Slot wasn't a household name in England or even in Europe. He arrived from Feyenoord with a reputation for overachieving and playing attractive, high-pressing football. But could he handle the scrutiny, the expectation, the legacy? The pressure from the first minute for Slot was immense. He was stepping into shoes of a manager who had literally just redefined an era. There was always going to be an emotional weight to carry, especially in a dressing room that still bore Klopp's fingerprints. Key players like Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent had played nearly their entire Liverpool careers under Jürgen Klopp. Slot had to earn their trust, and he had to do it fast. But Slot, he approached the challenge with clarity and humility. His first press conference wasn't about grand promises. He acknowledged Klopp's impact, called the opportunity a huge honour, and spoke about building upon a solid foundation. Slot emphasised that he wasn't here to erase the past, but to write the next chapter. Behind the scenes, he immediately began studying every detail from tactical data to team psychology. He met with each player individually, understanding their motivations and defining clear roles. He adjusted training intensity, introduced tailored recovery protocols, and opened dialogue with the club's sports science department to minimize injuries. It wasn't just about tactics, it was about systems, structures, and synergy. The result? Well, a smoother transition than most expected. Slot didn't try to be Jürgen Klopp. He didn't need to be. Instead, he created space for Liverpool to evolve. Arne Slot's tactical transformation of Liverpool was both bold and methodical. He inherited a team that had been built on Jürgen Klopp's signature gegenpressing, a relentless, emotionally charged style that had brought trophies, but also physical wear and tear and tactical rigidity in the final years. Slot, by contrast, brought in a more positional and possession-oriented philosophy, blending high pressing with more measured build-up. Slot would introduce a 3-2-5 shape in possession. The team would start in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 on paper, but in reality it morphed in build-up. This setup would allow Liverpool to dominate central zones, control tempo, and break down low blocks, something they've struggled with for a few seasons under Jürgen Klopp. The passing lanes were tighter, the spacing between units more deliberate. You could see rehearsed patterns, short vertical combinations, quick switches to isolate fullbacks, and timed runs behind defensive lines. Defensively, Liverpool became more conservative in when and where they pressed. Unlike Klopp's constant wave of pressure, Slot introduced zonal triggers. The team didn't press for the sake of it. They pressed with purpose, timing, and compactness. Slot used a high line but ensured that the space behind it was covered by Van Dijk's leadership and Konaté's recovery pace. The midfield line sat deeper in certain matches to absorb pressure and spring counters. One of the biggest winners of this tactical setup was Mohamed Salah. The Egyptian forward, now slightly a bit more centrally involved, ended the season with another golden boot, this time scoring 29 goals and getting himself the Playmaker of the Year award by getting 18 assists. His movement was lethal, drifting from the right into those half spaces where he could combine and finish. He was no longer just hugging the touchline, He was the nucleus of Slot's attack. Now, Liverpool's brilliance this season must be viewed in the wider context of a Premier League landscape filled with drama, disruption and decline among their closest challengers. Not that Liverpool fans care. The likes of Manchester City and Arsenal this season just were not up to par as they have been in previous seasons. Pep Guardiola and Manchester City will know that they have looked an absolute shadow of their absolute best. This is a team who have just won 4 Premier League titles in a row, and this season they will say was a bit of an embarrassment, walking away with 0 trophies come at the end of it. They've got a lot of work to do to be able to catch up to Liverpool, who look to be moving in the right direction. Arsenal, who were a team who pushed City to the final day last season, regressed probably slightly. Mikel Arteta's men began strong but suffered a dip mid-season, losing momentum after injuries to Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka. Despite the rise of Declan Rice as a midfield force this season, they couldn't really match Liverpool's consistency and composure in big moments. And judging by their fans, they seem to have more excuses than points. And I mean, what more can we say about these two teams, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur, this season? Absolutely abysmal seasons in the Premier League. One team finished in 15th, the other finished in 17th, just above the relegation zones. I mean, it's been an absolutely awful season by their standards. I don't think any of them looked at the beginning of the season and thought to themselves that they would be so far away from the champions. And even if they weren't going to be winners at the end of the day, I don't think 15th and 17th were two positions that they both looked at the beginning of the season. And lastly, we take a look at Chelsea. And I mean, Chelsea finished the season, of course, in the Champions League spaces by beating Nottingham Forest on the last day of the season. And I still think that they're a club who are in transition at this current moment in time. Of course, the previous season with Pochettino, things didn't really go well. But this season, they have finished 4th in the league. So they might be a team that Liverpool may need to just take a look at and just be a little bit wary about coming next season. What truly defined this title wasn't just tactics, it was culture. In his own words, Arne Slot credited the squad's unity and openness to new methods as the key to success. He focused on daily standards, strong communication, and allowing senior players like Van Dijk, Robertson, Salah, Alisson to guide the younger talent. He didn't try to replace Klopp's presence, he built his own, and the players bought in. Liverpool would want to go back-to-back in the Premier League. Now, hopefully with reinforcements on the way, with potential new signings in Frimpong, Kerkez and Florian Wirtz, the ambition is clear. But expectations will rise. European competition returns and maintaining balance across all fronts will be Slot's biggest test yet. Still, if this season is any indicator, the Slot era has only just begun. Liverpool are not just champions, they are evolving, adapting and ready for more. Make sure to hit the like button, share and subscribe. People, stay tuned for tomorrow's episode where we'll be taking a look at Serie A champions Napoli. And I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.